the pack.
I remember business.
Come to another video. Looks like we're talking about the businessman. I got some of you there, didn't I? Go on, admit it. I'm sure some of you are probably already typing how that destroyed your ears or something, but hey, let's get into the video. Now, the businessman, and I'm not sure if you noticed this yet, it's very secretive, but they are businessmen. They wear suits and ties and are always carrying a briefcase so that they can do the act of by themselves. The businessmen really aren't that interesting. There's not really much to cover. They are literally just businessmen. But the thing is about the businessmen is that they actually represent a pretty interesting lesson. As you probably noticed in Adventure Time, it is constantly sprinkled around with very interesting lessons here and there. And the lesson that I noticed while watching this episode was, in my opinion, from my interpretation, from the infinite number of ways I could say it, is efficiency over everything. The fastest results in the quickest time with the least amount of resources. And with our capitalistic dystopia that we call society, I thought that I'd actually go ahead and talk about this one. Because real life examples are incredibly depressing and will no doubt make you depressed, sad, and anxious for the future, if that isn't already the case. Now, the businessmen were found by Finn and Jake in an iceberg while the two were scavenging parts in order to build this massive ramp, also known as a proper training gauntlet. Luckily, or unluckily, depending on how you view it, Jake ends up saving them by stopping Finn from literally turning them into grilled steak. The businessmen don't remember where they came from, why they were in the ice, or what kind of business they did, and so they offered their services to Finn and Jake. Now, of course, Finn was a little reluctant, as the dock was theirs to build. He personally likes doing things his way, and as such, he didn't really feel like giving it to someone else. Of course, with the permission of Jake, though, they ended up building it in a couple seconds flat. Thus began the slow but steady slope into absolute madness. In fact, at first, it was incredibly beneficial. They created new technology which allowed them to observe smaller and larger threats. They created adventure packs for Finn and Jake for whenever they did in fact have to go out for an adventure. They made sure to maintain the upkeep of all of their major gear. From the outside looking in, everything seemed to be going incredibly well. But as many of you know, both cartoons as well as life are significantly more complex than that. As the businessmen took over every single smaller task that Finn and Jake originally did on their own, Finn and Jake eventually fell into a stupor of sorts. In the pursuit of efficiency over everything, they began to literally leave behind the things that at one point gave their everyday lives meaning and purpose. And as useful as the pursuit of efficiency is, one thing that is one of the most inefficient things are the people themselves. In order to reach the highest amount of efficiency absolutely possible, one must eventually remove the individual from the equation. This is something that the businessmen would eventually realize themselves as they began just sucking up a buttload of citizens into their care pack, which was literally just a prison. When it comes to efficiency, in terms of keeping them all safe, technically speaking, this would be the best way. When the goalpost and priority is efficiency over the individual, pretty much nothing can be done aside from the most efficient thing, with one of them even saying that happiness was never their priority. Meanwhile, Finn and Jake, who literally relied on the system for so long, were now fat, weak, and unskilled. In the pursuit of efficiency, they not only were stripped of everything that made them very good heroes, but they also created an entirely new problem. It wasn't until Finn began to take in a situation and think again that they finally solved the problem. So after watching this, what exactly can we learn from this? That efficiency without concern for the individual is not really worth pursuing. That efficiency is doomed to collapse if efficiency itself is the goal. And in terms of the individual, one should strive for efficiency as well as personal happiness, and that involves pursuing things that give them fulfillment in their lives. Otherwise, we'll just devolve into a stagnant existence, which none of us would really like anyway. But that's what I got from this episode. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm thinking way too deeply into this? Do you have another interpretation? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Thanks so much to my patrons. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye.